In this video, I want to give some information about the progress of my software development. I have recently reactivated since a while, making a break. And after the break period, I found some problems in my software related to the state I stopped the development on Windows XP, primarily building the software. And there seems to be some issues with Windows 10 when my main make system tries to create make files out of the definition files. It crashes, or it has crashed, since trying to deploy the ready built Jenkins output, the artifacts running building on Windows, they didn't be able to create makefiles on the system. I'm trying it out. There are some problems. First, several compilers produce different errors, and I moved from initially from Watcom to MinGW compilers, but I didn't move the make tool, MKMK tool, to compile as well with MinGW or MinGW. After trying to port the source code to using MinGW, I fixed some issues the compiler complained about, and I tried to fix the crashes, and I didn't cope with it anyhow. The initial creator of this tool, MKMK, I have decided to use, has developed it with Watcom, and I have ported it to use it with MinGW, and it was working well on Windows XP machines and probably some early Windows 10 machines, or even probably only Windows 7. So I have no idea when the tool braked at which Windows version. So I still had the problem to find a way out of this main issue, creating my makefiles. This was a showstopper, and at the end, I managed it to compile with Visual Studio, and I decided to prepare a new binary release of the make tools that the main source code, the deployment installer, will pull from SourceForge to enable building the source code out of a box on a new installed Windows machine, because it was initially assigned or designed to pull the compiler to build the source code, and I have tried to pull to use the MinGW compiler that was pulled as well for MKMK. Thus, the trouble I got with Windows 10, I was not able to make a release after these years of making a break. So I decided to create a Visual Studio project. I decided to create a Visual Studio project out of this. And is it here anyhow? No. Probably not. Where's my mouse? I probably need to go to the source code, vendor mkmkey. Here's the mkmkey project files, the DSV. Did it open with editor? No, I want to open it with shell edit. Okay. It is a new project file you probably could build yourself. But I provide a binary release of these pre-required tools until I get some further porting my source code using again Visual Studio for the sake of having one development tool at hand. When I make a release, probably someone could help fixing the issues with MinGV or with Swatcom compilers. Probably the newest Swatcom open source Swatcom compiler, OpenWatcom 2.0, probably, or I think, is capable of creating proper binary files, running proper on Windows 10. So this is for short the progress of. I want to put out my key. I always didn't find my mouse under the overlay, and though the development will be put further into a direction, I can make a release of the source code and as well thus of the migration from Windows XP. I am actually unable to use Git on this machine. Meanwhile, I try to build the source code on this machine as well to get a starting point still supporting XP. And after the release, I think I dish some old machines. So this dishing is probably done later. But this is due to a big break of about 6 years. This is the result. Meanwhile, I grabbed some Visual Studio projects from my old time, working on MFC again, and I've chosen to use a commercial tool for it to build up a Windows version of my tools, basically to finance my open source project as well. So this needs as well some time. But I don't forget to bring something to the open source users, but I hope to get as well some feedback from these users. They may be able to use still the old version. I have mainly decided to buy some commercial product because of the look and feel of typical Office applications. Say if I have some grid or I have some Office, where is it? Grid demo, and organizer, I think, is some pretty good example. Make it as an active project. Build. And as you see, this shortly is a well done framework using MFC, and my decision was due to my source code is C++. I don't want to use porting, or I don't want to port the software to a complete different language, only to get some pretty fancy UI. And the main reason therefore was the pretty fancy UI without the okay, the demo database could not be accessed. Only for the sake of getting some pretty fancy UI, I don't want to port the complete C++ code into a new language. And I have tried some different styles of integration with tools like Power. And my project there tried to implement some reservation systems with graphics, and therein I tried to integrate my source code and reusing my source code, which is where it is. I think I have removed it, interpreter, I think it is not on this machine. And going to another machine. Anyhow, my YouTube doesn't play the video. This is the still open some Watcom projects. I want to open this one. Trainres giving me some I think it is anywhere in the source code. Use the LBDMF gateway was the issue. Was I am trying to use, and there is some wrapper classes around the interfaces. The initial idea about modular software design and modular software development is indeed exactly the outcome that I can be using this code, the code from another compiler or from another environment. I probably have some issues when I mix the compilers like Visual Studio or Visual C++ with the Watcom compiler behind this Power++ tool, that I probably go to Visual C++ or Visual Studio for the sake of the latest version to integrate the source code. Therefore, of course, not in this project, because this is a custom made development. It is even not able to compile because I have moved around some code. But if I go to the, where is it? Here. different machine. Has got some errors. If I run it here, I was able to make some graphical train station network, something like this. If I take some new one, okay, I am moving. Here now, I still can move, and then I could connect some train stations where they are splitting or something like this. And the idea was to try to integrate my source code, but I want to do the same integration into a more modern application, lookalike. And as you see, it is looking pretty well without the need to port all my source code, all the dependencies to C++, how I have developed the software. And I hope I get some customers out of such a project or such an application that looks like some kind of this software. The task isn't loading because I am not using the path with the database in it. So this is not a problem now. And here you have some pretty looking application. Therefore, this is my progress. Sometimes take some work takes some longer because I have some multiple tasks to accomplish. And but now I made a working version where I could build. I go to the next test machine. The source code on a Windows 10, and it was building, cleaning. I hope I can demonstrate it now. It may break. So it starts compiling. It brings many errors, of course, that need to be fixed as well. The VX widgets library is outdated. This is the next task I need to do, porting to using the modern or the latest release of VX widgets for the open source project. They have as well many errors in their old version with the recent compiler, and this is now using the Visual C++ compiled MKMK tool. So I would be able to create a release out of it, because this is a test installation with the new stuff in it. Projects bin MKMK. This is a new size, and this has been built with, probably you can see it. No, I don't think so. But I detect it on the size. The Wattcom version is about 88 something kilobytes. Need some other libraries for the sake of stuff needed. I don't see it now here in this folder. Probably no, probably DLL, no. So for the Wake widgets libraries, there are still used the Wake widgets 2.8, and there's a lot of work I need to do to get a new release, but I am only starting since some months. And meanwhile, doing some work for the open source project and other stuff. I hope you understand that it takes some additional time because I'm doing a lot. So is it required to tell you something else? I need just to think about other videos I probably make about the old stuff. Is some issues with porting, or some how to go to the new compiler, what was the weakness of this tool, for example, in my opinion. This is still usable software, but it is out of date. It has been dropped from the software company since 2000, I think, and the other tools I used dropped not. For the sake of MFC, it's something like a wonder that a company still supports this old compiler, which is MFC based, top-notch library with some very good features, as you see. A calendar, something else, a Gantt project. You can do a lot with this, and that's why I have purchased this one, and I have made some compromise between working with an open source project, going to a closed source library to build a commercial spin-off of my software to make me to enable me getting some money out of my effort. At the end, it is not an always open source way, but the main open source project will be kept up, and I promise this. Terminate your application. Yeah, there's something running. Where? Here. Go away. And go away. And these are the reasons. C++ is the main source code of my project. C++ is MFC, or MFC is using C++. They still support the old compiler, which enables me to start from this old setup and going further to the more recent, or the most recent C++ MFC libraries on Windows 10. And probably afterwards, or while I'm doing this, I am porting open source project to C++ using Microsoft Visual Studio, extending MKMK to produce the makefiles, so the solution files and the project files out of the definitions, so that other developers will find a proper Visual Studio environment which they are used to use. This is, I find it, compared to the OpenVatcom compilers, which is a real pain between jumping between the build environment and the debugger, and something else is not so well in nowadays. And here I as well try to see some software ideas I've made in the past. I think this is a version from 1994. Windows 3.1, 16-bit was the version I stopped development this. Because I find some tools like the database support with Power++. This was a fail at 2 years later because they dropped their product, and I was realizing making some big mistake. Afterwards, MFC is still supported until now. At least it is feeding out now. I see in the Visual Studio development tools there is moving out some assistance in the database forms like stuff, but I made a decision to use this tool again. So that was it for now. I think you will see me soon. So I hope this was a good information for you, and keep monitoring my open source project. And it is this one. You as well could download some sample applications I have created out of the tool with code generation, which uses database, which uses a well-designed UI, at least a little bit old from the skinning. This is a C# DevExpress software, and this is the code generator building the source code for the just mentioned software. And I think the new version will do it a little bit in a different way, but it will not make the open source project obsolete. Therefore, it's only a design session fitting or filling the gaps how to accomplish the software development in a way of prototyping. There are several ways to accomplish this, and one is using UML, and the new one will using something like a forms centered entry of stuff from the database perspective, probably to the forms-based perspective, using all-in-one environment to do this. And yeah, that's for now. Keep monitoring my projects, keep monitoring my website for news, and I want to see some I need to find my buttons to say bye. Bye.